Hey guys, it's Alex, aka Plant Medic, and I'm here to share with you my top 5 picks for best beginner plants. So, starting off in no particular order with the succulent. So succulents are great plants because they don't require a whole lot of attention at all. They're very much the type of plant that you can just kind of throw in the corner and forget that they exist, and maybe a month from now come back and remember, oh hey, maybe this might need some water. So they're very drought resistant. They're not super light sensitive. So as long as you don't have them in a pitch black corner somewhere, they should be pretty fine. You really only have to water them maybe once a month. You can do it a little bit more frequently. It just depends on where you live. If you live in a more warm area, you might want to water them just a little bit more frequent. But other than that, very low maintenance plant. And what's super cool too is that they come in so many different varieties. You can get different colors, different designs, different styles. Some of them kind of end up vining in a weird way, and you can put them all together into a singular pot and kind of create your own art piece with them, which is super cool. So that would be first on the list for the picks. Number 2 on the list is going to be the ZZ plant. So the ZZ plant is another plant that is pretty drought resistant. It is very easy, doesn't require a whole lot of light, doesn't require attention very much. Just a super simple plant that if you kind of leave it alone and let it do its thing, it'll do really well. It is a little bit of a slower grower, so it may take some time to see results, but they end up looking really beautiful and can get super big as long as you just let them go. And moving on to number 3 here. Number 3, we have the Peperomia. Peperomia is another plant that comes in a lot of different varieties. You can get different colors with the petals, different shapes, things like that. And it's a plant that you have to give a little bit more attention than the previous 2 plants that I showed you, but it doesn't require a whole lot of watering, and it does well just kind of on its own. It's a plant that doesn't require a lot of attention like the previous ones, and just a little bit of watering, maybe once every week, every 2 weeks, and just kind of let it do its thing with just a moderate amount of light. It'll be perfectly fine. And then number 4 on the list is the famous snake plant. So snake plants are really cool plants. They function kind of the same way that some of the succulents do, in the fact that you can kind of let them go and not water them for like a month or so, and they'll be totally fine. Succulents are super similar, where you can just take very small cuttings and you can repot them and just kind of let them be, and they'll end up creating a whole new plant. Like this here, this was just an original cutting that I took from another plant, and I put it in this pot a couple months ago, and now it's already sprouting up, all these new stems. So this one's super easy. You only have to water it maybe once a month. And sunlight wise, they do well in a little bit more sunlight or a little bit less. So they're pretty easygoing plants, and they look super cool. They come in different colors and shapes, just like the previous plants. And definitely a recommendation that you should have this in your collection of plants. Any of the varieties of snake plants. And then, moving on to the last choice, the Pothos. So the Pothos or Pothos, I've heard both pronounced differently, so it could be one or the other, but the Pothos plant is an awesome plant. This is a plant that can live in soil. It can also live in water if you want it to. And it's really cool because it comes in a million different varieties, and it ends up vining. Like you can see down here, you've got these little trailing vines that come down. And if you want to be creative, you can actually give this something to climb up, and the leaves will tend to climb up like a pole, or if you've got any sort of like moss pole or fencing, anything like that. It's definitely an indoor plant, so I wouldn't recommend putting it outside unless you live in a tropical area. But this plant's super awesome, and it does require watering on a more frequent basis than the previous ones that I showed you. But it comes in a million different colors and varieties and grows differently depending on which one you get, and it's a super easy plant to manage. I don't know that I've really ever had a pothos die on me because they're just super easy to maintain unless you forget to water it, which you could do fine with just once a week watering. They'll do really, really well, and they'll just kind of grow and trail and do all sorts of things, and they look really awesome if you put them on top of like cabinets or something like that where they can kind of vine down and hang down over time. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorites. Super simple, super popular. And that about wraps it up for my top 5 picks. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this gave you a little bit more clarity on things to look for. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you like this content, feel free to give it a like, give me a subscribe. Anything would help. I'm just getting started in the plant video business here, and I'd love to help you guys out where I can with my knowledge. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.